What's up and welcome back. I'm John Starkmack, MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about Juror number 2. This is currently available on Max with audio description. It was submitted for my consideration. Yeah, they decided they changed their mind, Warner Brothers, and we'll talk about it anyway. But I waited. I was able to wait until it got on Max to be able to consider it just in time, so I could get the audio description for it without having to pay for it. I think that's fair. So, this is hopefully the final film by Clint Eastwood because it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. I know that's tipping my hand a little early before I even tell you what the film's about, but the film has Nicholas Hoult in the lead role, Toni Collette. It's the first time I think that they've paired up since About a Boy, which was sort of the launching pad for Nicholas Holt's career. So it's interesting to see the two of them together. I remember sort of when I saw this was in the room of possibility. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if this movie was really good? And like he got like a lead actor nomination, she got supporting. Like that would be great to see them like in the same ceremony together because Toni is under nominated. She's only been nominated once and it was for The Sixth Sense. And I would have nominated her for About a Boy. A lot of other people would have nominated her for Hereditary. She definitely deserves more awards than she's gotten. Hoult is a rising star, and he's been in a bunch of things this year. He's really great in Nosferatu as well. So he feels like somebody who's close to getting the right role for the nomination, hopefully. In his career, he was also terrific on The Great. I didn't care if that show got another season because I was like, I'm not watching this without Nicholas Hoult. I did not. I was a little sad, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to see it without Nicholas Hoult in the show. So, huzzah. We've also got Chris Messina, who plays, so Hoult plays juror number 2. Jason, I think is his name. Toni Collette is the prosecutor for this trial. Chris Messina is the defense attorney. Gabriel Basso is the defendant who's being accused of murdering his girlfriend, who's played by Francesca Eastwood. Clint looked at his daughter and was like, I think you'd be really good at getting murdered. Come be in my movie. A weird casting. My daughter's great at playing a dead body. So that's that. Anyway, we've also got juror number 2. Jason has a wife, Zoe Deutsch, who is pregnant and she's like in her 3rd trimester, and they mentioned the fact that it's a high-risk pregnancy. So one of the things that Nicholas Hoult tries to get out of the jury trial for is to be there for her, and a little bit of their pregnancy story works its way into the film as well. I won't ruin it, but I'll just say the pregnancy actually matters. It's not just like a thing that they gave Zoe to do. But we've also got J.K. Simmons, who is another one of the jurors, who's like a former police officer. There's also shout out we've got Leslie Bibb in this also in the panel, and Adrienne C. Moore, who was in the cast of Orange is the New Black. I loved her in that show, and I haven't really seen much of her since then, but I was really happy to see her here in this. And then also Kiefer Sutherland shows up. Jason is also in AA, which factors into this whole thing. We'll get to that. I have to tell you who all these people are. But he's Jason's AA sponsor, who also conveniently happens to be a lawyer. So Jason's able to like give him $1. So that way they do like, give me the dollar. So an attorney-client privilege or whatever. And it feels like a really solid 90s courtroom thriller. You know, this is what it feels like. And it's way better than Eastwood's Cry Macho. That's why I want this to be Eastwood's last movies, because I don't know if he goes back to the table again, if he can do something better than Juror number 2, because this is definitely, there are other films. This is not even like his second worst film. You know what I'm saying? Like there are other Eastwood films that I don't like more than Juror number 2. This is not his best work. He's not going to finish on a high note. Most directors will not finish on a high note. Let's be honest. The last film of Spielberg, Scorsese, all those people, they're not going to be their best films. They've already directed too many classics. They can't possibly top them. They want to. I know they want to. That's why they keep trying, but it's next to impossible. So, but yeah, I think Eastwood has definitely put himself in a position where we can at least go, yep, well, his final film was solid. This is a very solid film. I would have pushed back the reveal, and that's why I feel like I can tell you what the movie's about, is because it tells you pretty early on. So the trial is about, the whole thing is that juror number 2, Nicholas Hoult, realizes, oh shit, he's the one who actually committed the crime. He wasn't sure that he committed the crime. It's presented to you in that way. So that's one of the things that Nicholas Hoult does really well here, is that he's like realizing everything in real time. He's a recovering alcoholic, and he was at the same bar the same night. He says he didn't take the drink, and he drove home at night, and he hit something, but he assumed it was a deer, and he's now pretty sure that he hit this girl. So he's pretty sure that he's actually the one that killed the girl. And so now he's in a place where obviously he doesn't want to turn himself in. You know, he would like to get away with it as well. But he also has like this moral objection to necessarily voting guilty, just to have and send this guy away for it. So he's trying to like thread the needle really thin. Meanwhile, J.K. Simmons is like, he has his own suspicions about the case, but not having nothing to do with Hoult. Like, nobody thinks that the one of the jurors did it, you know. And he sort of goes about his own. He has his own path. It's it's an interesting movie, but I think it would have been more interesting if we had revealed the Jason thing later, in the movie, because it's pretty much like he pieces it together. Like once he's like you, the only way you don't know is you start off and the movie's sort of happening, and then he goes for jury selection, and we go through the jury selection process and he sits down. But like once the case is described to him, he's like, wait a minute, on what night? Like it's all coming together to him, and then we get a flashback sequence and we see he was there, and then pretty soon you get the like him hitting something with his car, and like it's all really early in the film. This is all like within the first, I want to say 20 minutes of the film. So the film is really about him trying to, what now? And the interesting situation of nobody knowing that he is, it's sort of like a better version of Trap. Like everybody, like we knew what Hartnett was from the beginning of that movie. But here Hoult plays him sympathetically so that you actually do want to see him get away with it, because otherwise Zoe Deutsch is, I mean, what, she could go through the stress, she could lose the baby, you know, she's gonna be left raising this kid by herself, all that kind of stuff. You know, you're like, maybe he really did think he hit a deer, all that kind of stuff is really presented to you legitimately. Eastwood does a really good job of presenting you with a very flawed man who's very sympathetic and has hit this terrible moment in his life. So I liked it. It's not going to be considered for any awards. I think Warner Brothers did it dirty by trying to put it in like 50 theaters, and then also oddly announcing they weren't running an awards campaign for it. And then critics saw the movie, like it didn't screen for critics, but then they went to the theaters and saw it, and everybody was like, this is actually a good movie. Not like a great one, but a good one. So then Warner like opened up their minds to, okay, well, maybe we should do something with this. I mean, we're campaigning Joker Folie à Deux. Maybe we should, I guess, include this in our thick material. So yeah, this should have gotten like an actual release. It has a big enough cast. I think if you had put trailers together for this, it has a hook, like a premise. I don't know why they bought. I don't know. Did David Zaslav, did he hate this movie or something when he watched it? Does he screen all the movies and go, no, this isn't? And then somebody was like, well, I'm sorry, sir, but we have a contractual obligation. Because I think that's what it is. I've seen this before where there have been movies that someone has a contractual obligation for a theatrical release, and that 50 theaters feels like a minimum. It feels like a minimum. It's such an odd number that feels like somebody wrote down 50 theaters, and that was so they put it in 50 theaters. Because I've seen movies where either an actor in their contract or a director in their contract has, when they sign, something that prevents the movie, used to be preventing the movie from going straight to video because there's such a stigma with straight to video. But I would imagine nowadays there's still things that prevent movies from going straight to streaming. Tom Cruise has yet to do a straight to streaming movie. I would imagine he has one in his thing. So no matter where you take the film, it has to go to theaters, and at least a bare minimum amount of theaters, whatever he puts in his contract. Usually big names can get away with it, which is what makes me think it has to be Eastwood, because I can't imagine that anyone else here would have supported, would have been able to get away with that. There isn't like a giant star. There are big names, but there's not like a huge star that would force a theatrical release. So, especially when you look at Wolves, which Apple Plus was going to release theatrically and then abandoned it and shoved it into streaming, and that's Brad Pitt and George Clooney, really makes you think, like, if they don't have it, then who gets away with it still these days? But, yeah, I liked Juror number 2. I thought Hoult did a good job. Everybody here does a good job, just nobody does a career best job. That's the thing, is like, it's a good movie, it's just not a great one. It's nobody's best movie, but it's definitely a movie worth watching. So I just wish I'd been treated better. I really like the audio description here. This is Roy doing this, and I was trying to think of the name of the company that's doing this, but I can't. Yeah, he does a nice job here on the. My brain is fried now. I've watched too many movies. I can no longer think and comprehend life. But yeah, with all of the little bit of flashbacks and, the details and the reveal of things, when somebody sees something, when they have to see, a certain picture or something like that on the frame or whatever, like little clues along the way and having you guide that direction. It's not the most twisty of thrillers, but it is still sort of suspenseful. I like Juror number 2. I'm going to give it a B. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.